this guy, this identity, this version of Lynn, that guy was killed, right? And he's been killed like 1,000 times over as I've continued to grow over the last 6 years, and I'll continue to die as I get to 40, and I go, wow, Lynn, like, you're 30-year-old? Fuck, that guy was such an amateur. All right, welcome back here to another episode on the Modern Man Podcast, where I talk about things that businessmen, modern day men struggle with, their families, themselves, and their business. Everything I want to talk about on this show is going to come back to everything that you and I face as men. Like, that is, as a 20-year-old man, as a 30-year-old man, as a 40-year-old man, I don't care. You're going to face this with relationships and connection. We're going to face this with being a father. If hopefully you get to be a father one day, I think it's the most beautiful thing that can happen to a man. It's completely opened up my heart. And at the end of the day, how do we not get the dad bod? And why do we get the dad bod? And that's the craziest part about this. That's what this show is dedicated for. And so I want to talk about something today, and I want to talk about this idea of awareness and being able to be aware of shit, but not actually utilizing shit. And so I spent the majority of 2016, 17, 18 teaching a lot of fitness coaches, a lot of experts on how to, and consulting them on how to run their marketing, run their advertising campaign, set up their online business, and grow it. So inside of that time, our consulting company, the 1%, we grew pretty quickly. We helped over 1,000 people. We grew to multiple 7 figures all around the world. We had some success stories, which were amazing. We had a lot of people that were doing great with the program. We also had a lot of people that weren't doing great with the program. And so that started to get me to understand, like, why people fail. Like, I was on this pursuit. I was almost on this hunt of why do people fail? We literally have the same system. We have a system. We give it to a person. One person does extremely well with it. Another person falls flat on their head, and then really doesn't ultimately change their life. And so one of the big things that I started to think about, especially as I started to run, and you're going to notice that running comes up because I do it. But I listened to I listened to a book called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel. It completely transformed my perspective. And there's these 4 agreements which he goes through, and it's almost like the 10 commandments, but more so than religion or anything. It's almost 4 ways to actually live your life, 4 principles to live your life. And so as I'm listening to these principles, like, the first is be impeccable with your word. Second is don't take anything personally. Third is don't assume things about others or don't judge. And the fourth is always do your best. And so as I'm listening to this, I'm starting to go, okay, well, it all makes sense. And we all have this awareness about of new information. You know, this podcast is another way for you to consume stuff, which is great, and to give you awareness. There's plenty of other amazing podcasts and shows that you'll listen to or watch. There's plenty of other inspirational speakers that you'll listen to, and to get awareness. The reality is, I'm not interested in awareness. I'm interested in, why don't people fucking change? I want to know what creates change, right? And so as I'm listening to this, I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting awareness. And change starts to happen. And then I get this epiphany as I'm running, and I'm starting to go, okay, well, shit, like, I start to realize that our brain's like a cup. And, you know, if we have this cup here, I think I talked about this inside of a podcast episode. Unfortunately, this cup was full, but I'm holding an empty glass of coffee right now. You and I have a cup in our head, and it's filled. Okay, right now it's filled not only with information, but it's filled with, like, stories and limitations. Okay, there's a story, there's a limitation. You're where you are right now. I'm where I am right now. The facts of where my body is right now is a story that's inside of my mind that's stopping it from becoming more, becoming better, becoming faster, becoming leaner, whatever. Okay. Also, it's a story that's stopping it from regressing too. So it's a story that's stopping myself from letting my body go and going to, like, I don't know, 500 kilos, going on The Biggest Loser. Like, that story creates this container which keeps me there. Again, we have stories inside of our mind. Now, what I want you to think about, and this came to me on, like, my last 2 kilometers of running, when shit just magically just happens to come to you because you're just so tired and you're breathing in so much oxygen. I think it's got to do with the oxygen and how much air you breathe in. The more air you breathe in, the more you can think clearly. So anyway, I'm thinking, okay, well, what's happening here? We've got a cup. Every single person is filled with the story, and the cup's full. And if we want to change something, then we ultimately have to change our story around it. Like if you want to change your situation around money, well, you know this, you've got to change your story about money. You've got to see money to be a good thing, because then you'll start to get more of it. And if you see money as a bad thing, well, your story is, well, you don't want it. Like it's bad, it's evil. Okay, and so stories come into play, because stories control your actions, stories control your thoughts control your actions control your results. Okay, if you think about it this way. So the reasons why I want to go into this is you know, and I'm sure I'll go into this deeper, is because everyone's got a cup in their brain, and there's like marbles. These marbles hold a story. These stories create certain actions that you do every single day without even knowing. Now, there's a part of you and me that we can go out and learn more shit and become more aware. Like you can listen to Gary Vee, super inspirational. Listen to Tony Robbins, super inspirational, right? We can have this awareness. We can have this epiphany. But unfortunately, if that cup, you don't let go of that story, okay, then your actions aren't going to change. You're never going to get those results. And so what has started to happen, I'll bring this back to 2018, because there are a lot of coaches there. And one of the hardest parts about coaching and leading and training coaches is that you start to see the disconnection between what they do themselves and how they show up and what they tell others to do. And what do I mean by this? Well, most coaches will tell others, you know, and be a beacon of light and inspiration to others, and yet at the same time they're fucking shitting their pants when it comes to stepping into the unknown, stepping into commitment, stepping up to have courage. And how they behave under pressure is completely different to how they tell others to behave under pressure. And I started to see this across thousands, right? Which is why we're not inside of that space as much anymore. It's not something that I wanted to do, and I want to talk about that a little bit later on. So I want you to think about this. Your brain has a cup filled with stories like marbles. In order for you to change, great, you can have awareness, but your life's not going to change. Most people think that they're going to change through awareness. You actually change when you take a marble out, you let go of that story, you kill it. Like there's a version of you that you got to kill. There's a spiritual version. There's a story, you got to go, I can't beat that guy anymore. That guy is just like, is an amateur, right? I can't be that guy anymore. And it's really weird, because when you kill it off, like I go back and I have a conversation with Kerry at night, and I'll sit there in bed and I'll lie there in bed and I'll go, Kerry, do you remember when, like before Ocean, like when we started dating, what was I like? And I'm thinking, and she's thinking, there's silence. She doesn't know. I'm like, I don't even know that guy. I don't even know the guy that went to Bali and got food poisoning and didn't want to travel and didn't want to like walk around. Like I didn't know that guy. Who the fuck was that guy? And the reasons why I can't think back to where I was because there's a story and there's a death that needed to happen to that pattern that was that guy. Like this guy, this identity, this version of Lynn, that guy was killed, right? And he's been killed like 1,000 times over as I've continued to grow over the last 6 years. And I'll continue to die as I get to 40 and I go, wow, Lynn, like you're 30-year-old, fuck, that guy was such an amateur. The way he thought, I was so noob. He wasn't living life. He wasn't really living life. He didn't get it. He was completely lost. You know, it's just this uncovering. And so why I want to share this is because if you want to change your life, great, awareness is beautiful. But awareness is like having a glass full of marbles and you see some other really cool marbles, but yours is full. And so you never really align and activate the stories, the new stories that you want to have. So you go back to the old one and all you become is hyped up in this space of really cool information. And the reasons why I want to share this with you is because I think it was a really cool epiphany that if you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to evolve, if you want to be better, you already know this, that your results come from, you know, a new, completely different person. Like if Richard Branson was in my shoes right now, wanted to grow the things that I wanted to grow, he would completely do different things. Why? Because he's got a completely different identity. He's got a different set of marbles inside of his cup. He would completely blow it up and he'd have the facts. So the limitation is the limitation in our own selves to expanding and growing and seeing a different thing, letting go of our own stories. Okay, that's the first part to really changing. It's, are you willing to die to go to heaven? And it was the most beautiful quote that I read somewhere, that most people want to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. And so that becomes analogous to you want to grow, you want to be better, you want to have new results, but you're unwilling to kill off your old stories. You're unwilling to let go of what you currently think, what you currently believe, which is stopping you from getting the thing that you want. Now, of course, this goes back into something that Tony Robbins was really well known for, pain and pleasure. So if you want to change something, associate massive amounts of pain with it. And so we do this, and how you get rid of these stories is you associate, you identify the story, become aware of it, and then you associate a massive amount of pain. You actually sit there and you train yourself. You go, okay, well, if I keep doing this, if I keep fucking up, if I keep getting upset at Kerry for not cleaning up after she cooks dinner, then I have to go, wait, if this is me, this is my fault, this trigger, this story is me, I need to change this. There isn't anything wrong with what Kerry's doing, it's my interpretation of why she's doing that. And so what's crazy is I want to be happy, but I want to hold on to this story that's causing me to be unhappy. And so you're going to start to realize this with not only your body, not only your business, not only the way you treat your employees, your clients, not only the way you treat your wife, not only the way you treat your beautiful children, but your own perception of life. Because at the end of the day, what it is that you want is you want to be happy, you want to feel fulfilled, you just want to live. And so we're so worried about the future, and we're so worried about the past. Most people live in the past. Okay, they judge everyone else for their past. Okay, and they're so worried about the future that you're unable to live. What does living mean? It means doing your best right now. It means like I never got it. So I would listen to Eckhart Tolle, the Power of Now, and this was 2014 when I was so my whole significance was driven on my ego to succeed. That in 2014 I'm reading this book and I'm not understanding it. It's like Jewish to me, right? And so the quote comes up as when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I wasn't ready. Even right now when I read it, I'm kind of like, okay, but I also want to be successful. Eckhart Tolle. I also want to be rich, just because I want to be rich, because I want to have options, because I want to give back, because I want to build some really cool things, because I want to feed this ego, because this ego is the human form. And so my question to you right now after this is, brother, like what kind of marbles, what sets of balls do you need to drop inside of your brain right now that you may need to drop? Because whilst you have the awareness, whilst you're listening to all these motivational speakers and these people that are telling you to change, whilst you're listening to this podcast, at the end of the day, I can make you feel nice. We can create more awareness. We can get super hyped up. But that's kind of the majority of, life coaches and personal development coaches, which really get enlightened and hyped up. But when it comes to driving action, there aren't any action, so the results are very dismal. This is facts from what I've seen. It doesn't mean that all life coaches are like this. There's plenty of amazing ones. But the majority of what I've seen actually enter this frame, which is a little bit sad. Okay, so it doesn't matter. What matters is, brother, you. So what stories are you needing to let go of, okay, that you might need to associate a lot of pain with, so that you can become the man that you want to be by adopting that new version, that new story that's out there, just in front of you, that you should capture. But you're unwilling to capture because you're unwilling, like your cup's full, and it's like hard drive full, bro. Hard drive is completely full. Comment down below, let me know, and I'll see you on the next episode.